All right, so we notice the hint, we ask the question, what else is like this? And then we get to the step we all like, and we won't spend very much time on here, but we'll look at a little bit. Derash, this is to seek, dig, expound. This is where we interpret the text. We dig into the text, we look for the problems, we ask the questions. Things like, why does the writer use a certain word instead of another, right? When in that Colossians example, he used the word shadow, and then I went on a rabbit hunt, like searching for the word shadow and connected it to Hebrews. And what is left unsaid, right? Sometimes the writer doesn't say a thing, and you're expecting him to say something. We should notice that. And then why? We always ask the why, like, why did he do it this way? Why not? And then what is the application for us? So this step is always like stretching the text from its original context and bringing it into our own life and in our own context. We're used to this. Jim and Lee and Kevin and the other teachers on Sunday mornings, they do this all the time. And Jesus did this a lot. So here's an example where Jesus does this. You have heard it said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment. So he's quoting one of the 10 commandments, right? Do not murder. You would think do not murder. The plain meaning is do not murder. Pretty self-explanatory. Jesus says, no, do not murder doesn't actually mean do not murder. He says, I tell you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, you fool, just calling someone a fool, makes you liable to the hell of fire. How does Jesus get from the plain meaning, do not murder, all the way down to, if you think someone's an idiot, you are really in trouble? That's a big jump, isn't it? I guarantee you, Jesus did Peshat and Remez before he did Derash. So he worked through these steps. Now we're not told, we don't get to see in the mind of Jesus how he got there. And we tend to give Jesus a pass and just say like, well, he's God. So of course he knows and he can do whatever he wants. But no, let's give Jesus a little more credit than that, right? Jesus read and knew and memorized the scriptures and he did the work. And so let's just imagine if we were in that place, how are we going to do the work? From you shall not murder. If I'm going to start, the plain meaning is do not murder. That one's easy. And then the next step is the remez. And there we're going to say, what else is like this? Well, there are a lot of stories in the Bible about murder, aren't there? And we can tell Jesus is interested in brother stories. There's lots of brother stories about murder too, right? I mean, that starts pretty early. Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau. There's not murder there, but man, there's almost murder a couple times. Joseph and the 10 brothers who try to kill him. And all those stories, on and on and on. And all those stories, they don't start with the murder. They start way, way earlier. And there's other things that happen that lead up to the murder. And Jesus is reading those stories, meditating on the stories, thinking about the stories, and thinking, how do we get to the place where murder actually happens? Well, it happens when you look at your brother in a negative light. That's where it starts. When you don't give them the benefit of the doubt, and you think that you're better than them, or they're taking something that is rightfully yours, in the Cain and Abel story, right? That's where it starts. And so Jesus is saying that commandment, do not murder, it's about way more than just do not murder. It's actually about how you view your brother. So he's doing these moves to get to then the application, and then to challenge us that we need to think about that as well. This Derash move, interpretive move, there's a whole genre of Jewish literature called the Midrash that's based on this. And all of Jesus's teachings on the law and his parables, they're all part of this like genre. Lots of rabbinic sayings that were written down in writings like the Mishnah, they fit into this genre as well. So there's lots of practice of this, and I would say like most sermons throughout history fit into this interpretive place at some point too.